Hey guys, my name is Ria, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be doing a video all about deload. Perhaps you know about it, perhaps you don't, but I'm going to take you through some of the strategies that I would use on myself when I'm feeling burnt out. Let me give you a little bit of background. I've been testing out some really exciting workouts for the last 6 weeks. I've been loving my training, I've been tracking the numbers, and I would always suggest you do the same. But last week I felt like I just hit a wall. I couldn't lift the same amount I would normally lift. Everything felt a lot harder. I was feeling more burnt out, I was feeling more physically fatigued, and some niggling injuries were starting to creep in. Now this is the point where we need to assess things, put a plan in place so that we don't end up completely going the opposite direction and saying, screw this healthy lifestyle, it's not for me, it only makes me feel terrible anyway. So when you start to get to this point, now is the time when you need to start considering a deload. A deload basically means a period of time where you program in lesser intensity training, whether that be you lift less weight, you lift at less intensity, or you rest altogether. But you first need to assess what is going to work for your body and why you need that deload in the first place. So if you do know about a deload, the common mistake I find people make is that they're just like, I need a deload, I'm going to do nothing for a week, I'm not going to go to the gym, and then their nutrition normally goes down the pan as well, and that's when they can end up regressing, and then it becomes harder to kind of get back into the swing of things because you feel like you've done so much damage. I mean, I'm sure I know some of you can relate to what I'm saying because I know I've been there as well. Exercise, working out, training, lifting weights, as good as it is for us, is also a stress on our body, and there's only so much stress our bodies can handle, especially if we're not recovering properly. And if we're always in an inflamed state, our bodies are going to start to find it harder and harder to grow and repair, and then you also might find that you hit a plateau. So now is the time that you want to bring in that deload. So I'm going to go ahead here and insert some clips from my training this morning to show you what I'm doing for my own deload, and then we're going to get right into this video with my top tips for you to program in your own deload into your training. Okay, so as you would have seen there from my training clips, there's nothing there that's exactly going to set the world alight. It wasn't super interesting, but for me, my focus was to just get my heart rate up, to go through stretching and mobility, and to work on some stability and core moves so that I can progress in some of the more functional elements that I want to do within my training. Now, the reason that my deload program looked the way that it did is because I had sat down in advance and I kind of asked myself a few questions so that I could really figure out what was going on. And this is what I'm going to take you through, and I would encourage you guys to do before you decide on what type of deload or rest it is that you need. So to start with, I want you to ask yourself, why do you need that deload? Is it because you've got a niggling injury, you've got some mobility issues, or you've just got some underlying pain that you can't quite get rid of? Are you losing strength? Are you fatigued? Or are you just lacking motivation? So for me, my reason for factoring in that deload was kind of twofold. I've definitely got an underlying injury and some stiffness issues. Since having Mason, I struggle with sciatica, and when I lift heavy for a consistent period of time, the pain just gradually gets worse and worse. But the second issue was also, like I said earlier, I was losing strength. So I can't continue to fatigue my body in that way. I need to back off the weight, but I do still want to work on some skills that I'm looking to develop. So that's why I've added in a lot of the isolation exercises. I've pulled all the big lifts out and I've kept in things like isolation hamstring curls, lying leg abductions, single leg glute bridges, all the things for me that are going to keep my glutes fired up and active, because for me they're the biggest area that I want to strengthen and grow. But if you're losing strength, the best course of action that you can do is pull out those big compound lifts that place a lot of strain and demand on your central nervous system, and pop them back in, but in higher reps and lighter weight. So you can still continue to do the moves, but I've been doing a lot of 5x5, so that has to come out. And if I was still to carry on doing deadlifts and squats, I'd probably drop that down to like 4 sets of maybe 12 to 15, just to keep my muscles moving and to keep active, but to not place so much strain on the central nervous system. So if a loss of strength is your main problem, you can continue to train. There's no need to skip the gym altogether, but change up those reps and those sets for higher reps and maybe slightly less sets. Feeling fatigued or physically tired or just completely and utterly drained is really common this time of year. I mean, we are in the middle of what feels like a winter that has been going on forever. Then you should definitely be making rest your main option. So I wouldn't suggest that you continue to go to the gym 5 or 6 times a week. You definitely want to pull back the amount of sessions that you're doing. So maybe look to do 2 to 3 of your regular sessions, and then if you feel good over the weekend, you can just maybe add in some lightweight cardio, lightweight activity, just to keep your body moving. But focus on rest, focus on chilling out, and focus on getting your groove back again. We all go through periods of time where we lack motivation and we're just not feeling our normal workout routine. We don't want to be fit and healthy, and all we really want to do is snuggle at home and drink tea and eat biscuits. So first of all, that is normal, but there is a difference between feeling really unmotivated to go and do your training and then just knowing that you need to pull up your big girl pants and get your bum in the gym. So if you are really feeling it where you don't have the motivation, you're not enjoying your training sessions, and you're trying to find every excuse under the sun not to go, I would just ask yourself do you need a change of routine? It can be as simple as like going to do something different. You don't have to follow that training plan every time you go. You could do a completely different form of exercise. It might be that you go and start attending a class. It might be that you go swimming. It might be that you go out for walks or you go bike riding. There's so many different things that you can do. Personally, I think if motivation is what you're finding the hardest, I wouldn't say completely stop altogether. Maybe like pull back your sessions, like I said earlier, but try and find something different to do. Get out of your normal routine and find that excitement again for exercise or just being active. You'll be amazed at how once you do that one different thing, it kind of lights the fire up inside of you again. You have a break, and then before you know it, you're like, yeah, I want to get back in the gym. I want to get back to my normal routine, and I want to smash what I was doing before. So spend some time doing something that's going to feed your soul, get your motivation back, get you inspired again, and then you will soon be back to your normal self. Okay, so once you've asked yourself why do you need to take that deload, the next question to ask yourself is how long do you need to take off? And the answer really is you only need to take up to a week, 5 to 7 days. It doesn't really need to be any longer than that. I think staying out of the routine longer than that is going to just make it harder eventually to get back into your groove. So give yourself, like I said, no longer than a week, whether that be complete rest, whether that be you pull back some of your sessions, whether you do something different or you train at a lesser intensity. Okay guys, so hopefully you know by now I am a massive advocate of hashtag listen to your body. Do what feels right for you. So if that means you feel like you need 5 to 7 days off the gym, maybe even longer, do what feels right to you. Don't try to force your body into doing something just because someone else told you to do it. The biggest piece of advice that I could give you is ask yourself those questions, see what the answers are, and then figure out a plan that is going to work you towards feeling the best version of you. Sometimes we need that rest, sometimes we just need to do something different, and it is as simple as that. So as always, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you got something out of it, please give it a big thumbs up. If you have any questions for me, pop them in the comments box below. I do love to hear from you. And until next time, I will see you in the next video.